Many congratulations, European final.
Thank you, mate.
How was your day yesterday? Enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. We didn't get back till pretty late, fair to say. I didn't get in till about 4:30 in the morning. So quiet day yesterday, just sort of relaxed and recovered at home. I think the boys, some trained who they didn't have to. We gave them the option, but some of the lads wanted to train, the ones who didn't play. And yeah, just a relaxing day.
Bit of a reflection as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think. It's I think it is quite a significant achievement. You know, we've got ourselves to the European final, and it's hasn't been without its challenges for sure. It hasn't been a smooth run. That's well chronicled, but irrespective of all that, just to reach a final of a major tournament, hugely satisfying, but also, like I said after the game, really proud of the way this group has, found a way.
I said to you near the start of the season, 50 games in charge of this football club. Where do you see yourself in 100? Well, that 100 is going to be a European final. Yeah,
not bad. It would be, it'd be a nice little bow to that 100, and it's been a really full 100. It's fair to say I've experienced just about every emotion in it, and hopefully the one main emotion we're all after, a bit of joy, is at the end of it.
You really could write a book on this season, couldn't you? I mean, I know you've got a couple out already, but you really could have a book this season.
Yeah, well, I've only got one out, but yeah, look, it has been, in many respects, an extraordinary one in terms of the extremes of everything we've gone through. You kind of understand that on one end of the spectrum you've got sort of a disappointing league season, and at the other extreme you've got the possibility of a real significant day in the history of this club that's been going on for many years. So when you have those kind of, but I think at the same time it's extremes, but I think they're intertwined. I really do, and I think one, there's cause and effect there. I think one has had an effect on the other.
Obviously, there's 2 games before the final, Palace, Villa. I'm intrigued in terms of how you would make the changes. Obviously, your back four is so important. You've barely had that back four all season, Romero, Mickey. What's the plan in terms of, you don't want them are they going to get an entire rest, or do they need to play some games, minutes?
Yeah, no, it's a challenging one, but we've tried to sort of navigate that for the last sort of couple of months. I think particularly Mickey and Romero and Destiny to a certain extent, because they've missed a huge chunk of the season, and you always know when guys sort of come back, you've got to sort of really manage them, because, in Romero's and Mickey's season as well, that they had a couple of setbacks after coming back, and we just didn't want to go down that path. We've changed our structures and our processes so that when they come back, we keep them back. We've done that really well, I think, the last 2 or 3 months, but part of that has just been managing their minutes. So it will be, sort of a balancing act. I think they need to get, obviously, some game time between now and then, where that happens. Look, unlikely tomorrow, because I think what we do know about sort of Thursday night, playing on an artificial takes a lot out of the players. It's fair to say they were sore. I remember when we played Tamworth, similarly, and we actually got a couple of injuries in the game straight after that, I think, because of the surface. So we've got to be really careful about sort of tomorrow's game. But, next Friday's a bit different. I think we just got to sort of make decisions that we think ultimately we want to be in great condition come final of Europa. So we'll use that.
Yeah, so finally from me then, in terms of team, there's no fresh injuries, but you probably shape it up a bit.
Yeah, no, there's no. Everyone got through okay the other night. Half hopeful that we get Sonny some minutes tomorrow, so he'll be the only one that sort of can come back in.
Right.
Thanks, Mike.
Congratulations as well.
Thank you.
You're going to be the first Australian manager ever to manage in a European Cup final.
First Greek born as well, mate. I'm also Greek, so a couple of very proud of both those.
When you started managing back in the day in the 90s at South Melbourne, you ever thought this is the thing that can happen?
Mate, I wouldn't have thought of it 5 years ago when I was coaching in Japan. So it's I guess that's look, you kind of there will be a time when all the dust is settled where I will reflect on all these things. These unbelievable opportunities have been presented to me. I've been blessed. But no, there would never have been any sort of real reality in, and even the dreams I had of, one day leading out a major football club in a European final. So, like I said, I've been blessed with all the opportunities I've had in life, and with great support from my loved ones, and looking forward to the day.
You're going to face a manager this weekend who won this competition 3 years ago, Oliver Glasner. I did his press conference yesterday, and he said 10 years ago he was managing in the second division in Austria as well, and he was full of praise, full of compliments for you and the challenges you face as a manager. When you hear a colleague saying those kinds of words, they don't have. Sometimes they say, sometimes they don't have to say it. How does it make you feel?
Yeah, it's true. They don't have to. You're right, and we live in an industry which is particularly in our roles fairly cutthroat. But I think, to be fair, most of my sort of peers have been, very understanding, and I think they understand sort of what I've had, the challenges I've had this year as a manager, and we've had as a football club. If you take away, the emotion of it, they just look at it probably from their standpoint. And I said that we've had extremes this year, but I think one has almost caused the other. Our fantastic run, not just in the Europa, but also in the Carabao Cup, has cost us in the league. But also the troubles we've had in the league has built a resilience in this group to be able to do what we're in now. So, but I think Oliver's done a brilliant job at Palace as well. And I followed his journey. Like you said, I always liked managers that kind of start from the bottom rung, so to speak, and work their way up, because there's a little bit more in them than just about football knowledge. There's there's some real determination to kind of get to the top, and I'm always got great respect for any manager that even reaches this level, because not many get the opportunity to do so.
It's a London derby this weekend, and Palace got a final as well at Wembley. In terms of your preparation, which Palace team you expect, because they might do plenty of rotations as well.
Hard to say, but I think since Oliver's got there, they're not going to change the way they play, so that's the constant. When you kind of know that they like to be really aggressive, without the ball, and they've got some real dangerous players, and I think with the cup final being next week, you'll probably want to use this as preparation for meeting City. So we're expecting a tough game, and from our perspective, look, last week against West Ham, whilst it wasn't the greatest of games, at least we kind of showed some real determination to make sure we didn't lose the game of football, and I thought for the most part we stuck to task really well, and we need to try and replicate that tomorrow, and particularly at home, because I think our supporters will still be sort of buzzing from the other night, and we don't want to sort of let them down, so I'm sure the boys will put in a good one tomorrow.
Hi, Ange. Yves Bissouma mentioned after the game that he thought all the players would be singing on the way back, and he said even the chairman probably would as well. Just wondering if yourself and the chairman belted out a few tunes.
Yeah, he's a different cat, Yves. Fair to say. I love him though, because he's had his own sort of issues this year, and I spoke to him about a month ago, and he kind of was in and out of the team, and. But I just had a feeling in my gut. I said, Biss, we're going to need you at the most crucial time, mate. And I don't know when that's going to be, but we're going to need you. And if we get the best Biss, we can do something special. And he's delivered, And through that time, he never sort of got his head down and complained. And, he knew he could be doing better, and he wanted to, push on. And he's really proud of him and the way he's kind of handled everything this year. But no, there's no belting of tunes. Fair to say, me and the chairman probably got different playlists, mate. So I don't see him banging away to AC/DC. So.
60 games it will be this season, 19 more than last. I think you're in the middle of 5 press conferences in 6 days. How do you juggle it all?
5 press conferences in 6 days. And that's what I was saying before, I know people are trying to separate the two in terms of, but there is cause and effect there, We've had a ridiculous injury-riddled season, coupled by the fact that we've done really well in 2 competitions, which is, like I said, 60 games. So it has felt, and certainly for me personally, it's felt like a really, really long season. But you just get energy, You realise what happened the other night, and you're so close to achieving something special that it all kind of sort of dissipates in the background, and you kind of get the energy you need to make sure. As I said, even in my career, I've been fortunate to have a fair bit of success, but I know that the key to that is that when the opportunities come along, you take them, because you just don't know when they're going to come around again. And the opportunity we have, that's all you need to keep your energy levels up. Not just for me, I think the staff, the players, everyone's feel the same way.
Sometimes young players heal a little bit quicker. I just wondered, is there any chance that Lucas Bergvall might be able to, or might be aiming to try to push himself for that final? Is there any way?
Yeah, no, that's unlikely. It's just, if we had another sort of 2 weeks, potentially he could. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be trying. I'm sure Matters will be trying, mate. Just to get the strip on. But look, unfortunate for both those guys, but as I said, we've just, that's been our season. Nothing's run smooth, and I'm sure they'll be, part of themselves. They'll be really disappointed that they're not part of this most important part, but they've been so integral to us getting here. I think there's any player, as I mentioned after the game, any player in our dressing room who hasn't contributed to where we are today, and should we have the success, we'll make sure that they get acknowledged in the right way.
Last one for me. Dominic Solanke said after the game that that's why he moved to Spurs nights like Thursday night. How important is it a player like that who's worked so hard gets his rewards with nights like that?
Yeah, it is, but it's also important for the club as well, that because guys like that are really hungry for success, and we keep saying that we need to change the culture of the club, and how do you become a winning club, and all those kind of things. I think it's players like that who, again, another player who's kind of worked his way to getting here. Nothing's been given to him. He's had to earn everything, that he appreciates what he's got. And if you can bring success at a time where guys like that are at your football club, then they're the ones that keep driving it in the future, because, like I said, they want more nights like Thursday night. They want to win trophies. That's why they came to the club. And if they do manage to do that, then, whoever next walks in the door, they've got a real clear reference point, an example of what you need to do to be successful. And so, it's great for Dom to have that night, but it's just important for the club that guys like Dom and others in that group, because they're part of the future here, feel that success as well.
To have a striker who can step up in those big moments.
I think he started that scoring run just after you asked me that he hasn't scored for quite a while. Yeah, that's why I always take a breath, bit of yoga, just let things go. And he missed a lot of football, Dom, and again, he's the kind of guy who, when he's been playing for us, he just works his socks off. But he had an interrupted season as well, and he's crucial to us. I think it's no mistake. It's not just the goals he scores, for sure. He adds so much to our game in terms of how hard he works for the team, both with and without the ball. But he's getting goals at crucial stages, and especially when you're talking about sort of knockout games, it comes down to moments, and it's easy to sort of say, oh, it was just a penalty, but they were big penalties for us. They were massive moments. You need somebody with real sort of calmness and clear-headedness to take those chances, and even the one the other night. I've been really pleased. The hot topic for us last year was set pieces. Our set pieces this year have been outstanding. We're a threat every time we get one. We kind of stop the opposition, and that's something that the guys, the coaching staff, have worked on a lot, of Dom getting into those areas, from set pieces. So again, he was in the right place. Big goal for us in the context of the game, and pleased for him. And like I said, that's why it's important. Like I said, his first year at the club, I think he's been outstanding. But again, he's had his issues with unfortunate injuries, no fault of his own. But guys, you can really build something around over the next few years.
You've mentioned, the extreme situations that you've experienced this season. Do you think in a strange way those challenges have sort of helped the team and brought everybody together? Yeah,
that's what I was talking about before. I think there's cause and effect there. I think our cup runs have affected our league form. There's no doubt that if we weren't in Europe, if we'd got knocked out pre-January and we didn't have a run in in the Carabao Cup we did, even with our injuries, fair to say our league position would be better than what it is today. I'm not saying we'd be in the top four, but we'd certainly be in a better position. So that's affected that. But also, you know, what I said before is that the tough stuff we've had to go through in the league and the scrutiny and the criticism the guys have received has brought them really close together. That, you know, they've said, well, we're not going to let this beat us, and we've got to still have an opportunity to do something special. And I think they've used that as sort of motivation to stay strong through both the Carabao Cup and now in Europe to try and achieve something.
Not been too many times this season where Basuma and Bentancur have started together. I just wanted to know what that partnership does offer you.
Yeah, look, I think, you know, with both those guys, experience, which, you know, we haven't had a lot of this year in crucial stages, real good game understanding. You know, both are, you know, with and without the ball, really disciplined and in terms of understanding their roles. And I think particularly in Europe, it's, like I said, it's a different beast. You need that kind of real sort of, like I said, tactical understanding of, you know, what's required in that midfield role. And I think they've complemented each other with the way they've both played, but also the way they've adapted to the roles we've needed to in the last sort of period. And you know, I think it's worked really well for us.
Just final one from me. Do Lucas, Madders and the other injured players, they still have a role to play for this season, especially the final?
Yeah, they're always, you know, there's always sort of a role to play. You know, it's a funny one when you're injured. You don't want to be hanging around either, you know, because you know that the guys need their space to prepare and train. But you know, I've encouraged both of them and Radi the same, and to make sure they stay around the group. I think it's important because it can be pretty lonely when you're trying to rehab, and particularly when it's the end of a season, you kind of know you're not playing for the rest of the season. And it's almost easier when the season ends because, you know, everyone's on a break, so you're not missing at anything. So, you know, the idea is to keep them around the group as much as possible over the next couple of weeks, making sure that, you know, they're engaging with their teammates and a part of everything we do. So, you know, they'll for sure they'll stay involved, and I think it's good for them, but it's also good for the group.
George.
And you just spoke about AC/DC then. Any chance yourself, the players, record a cup song? Like we've had Aussie's Dreams before?
No. Like I said, mate, there's if you walk in our dressing room, there's too many extremes in the playlist there, mate, to even get some consensus about, you know, from the South Americans to the, I don't know what Biss and the others are listening to, and, you know, then you got, you know, some of the other lads who, anyway, none of that would be on my playlist, so I definitely wouldn't contribute.
Okay, fair enough. You kind of mentioned that Tamworth game. I was remembering after, I think Brennan got an injury, I think Dom got an injury. I don't know if you can, but if you had the chance, would you make 10 changes on Sunday just to kind of protect all those guys who started?
Look, I mean, I don't know how many changes we'll make, so I'm still sort of, we haven't trained yet, so I'll see how the boys are. But yeah, there's definitely some, there's a few things to consider. One is, yes, the artificial pitch does take, I mean, I could see after the game, the boys were pretty sore, and we also got back really late. So, you know, a lot of them yesterday were probably just sleeping all day just to recover. So you've got to factor all those things. So we'll definitely make changes tomorrow because it's just the right thing to do for the players themselves. You know, we've got to look after them irrespective of, obviously, we've also got a major game to look forward to. So I'll see how the boys are this morning and we'll make decisions then.
And tomorrow's game is the first match, obviously, since you made the final. It's also the last match at home since you're going to play the final. I guess it will feel like a party atmosphere before kick-off. How important kind of you leave with a real strong performance, and not necessarily a win, but just kind of continue that kind of feel?
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I mean, last week's game against West Ham wasn't great, but like I said, I think at least the boys showed that, you know what, they're not dismissive of the league, they're still fighting and want to sort of arrest, you know, where we're at in terms of that. And like I said, I mean, I think a lot of our supporters, I mean, you know, we only had sort of 400 or 500 there the other night, so the rest of them are all here and they're all euphoric, and this will be their first chance to maybe share with the people that go to the games regularly that experience of the other night at the game on Sunday tomorrow, and we want to make sure that we continue sort of giving them that positivity. And so it's important tomorrow we go out there and put in a performance. it's not easy when I'm going to be making the changes that, and I think that sometimes I feel it's unfair on the lads, but that's the situation we're in. And like I said, I thought last week they handled it a lot better, and we need to do a similar thing tomorrow, just to be really resilient, make sure we put in a positive performance so that our supporters, like I said, get the chance to continue the sort of positive feelings they have around the club at the moment.
And just funny for me, I mean, you spoke many times about kind of when you achieve something, it helps if everyone is pulling in that right direction. And it does feel like there's maybe going back to the Frankfurt game or even the AZ game, it does feel like a shift with the fans and the players, and that's giving us really feels there now when maybe 2 or 3 months ago it wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah, look, I think, and it's again kind of understandable with the season we've had, but I've certainly felt it, and I think the supporters have played a huge role in our European run. I think sort of the RZ game at home, and then sort of Frankfurt home and away, and obviously Bodo home and away. I think they've been brilliant. I think the Bodo game at home. I know people sort of got nervous when we conceded, but I thought we were so dominant that night. But a big part of that was just the way we started the game, and it was because of the crowd. The sort of energy inside the stadium from the moment the boys walked out. You got to pay for that, bud. So. The energy in the stadium, we scored within a minute. There's no doubt the crowd have played a huge part in our cup run for sure, and I'm sure that come the final, they'll have an important part to play there as well.
We'll just finish with Arthur.
Hi, Ange. After United's semi-final, Ruben Amorim said he thinks he's odds-on for the Europa League final because he thinks if he's lost here 3 times already this year, he thinks to lose 4 in a row wouldn't be particularly likely. I was wondering if I could get your reaction to that line.
I'm sure in there's some Portuguese humour, mate, like my Aussie humour that gets lost on people. There's a little bit of irony there. I'm sure Ruben doesn't think that way, and looking forward. He's had his own challenges this year, but again, I think it's credit to him. He's got his club to a European final, and looking forward to matching up with him. We've had some good games against United this year and last year for sure. We've sort of come out on top, but it's a final of a game of a major tournament. I think the one thing you don't look at is previous sort of head-to-head comparisons become irrelevant. It's all about who performs on the day.
I know the match is still a little bit away. I don't know how much you've thought about it already, but is there anything in particular you're taking away from those first 3 matches that you're looking to take into the final?
No, not really. Again, I think you treat them all as a separate sort of entity because it's a unique situation. You're playing in a neutral venue. Like I said, it's a cup final, so there's all these other things around it. We'll analyse their team and sort of their football. I mean, I think you've seen slowly an evolution, which is only understandable in terms of the way he wants the team to play. I think the players are getting a better understanding. Again, it's always difficult when you come in mid-season. We'll do our analysis, but we've got 2 important games before that, so we'll leave that till after the Villa game.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys.